Okay, so for today's SNES Divination, we have this sort of combination of elements. There's a certain energy to them. They're very kind of uh, disparate. And what I'm interested in is so we have uh, these things, which, Gundams, they're robotic vehicles. So it's humanoid robots driven by a person in the cockpit. Um, so yeah, I like that theme just on its own. I think it's interesting, and it's funny. I mean, it's hard to know how to connect it to the other things. One thing that comes to mind is this game. Apparently, this game is called Yam Yam, and you're this uh, protagonist, and you drive this bird. Like you fly the bird like it's a vehicle. Uh, so I guess the main thing I can see that these three images have in common is vehicle. The idea of driving something, you as a human, using a body that is bigger than your own, uh, and and somehow driving that vehicle. Uh, and then there is also the issue of becoming a champion or a master at that, as if you're driving towards excellence, towards possibly, well, yes, sort of an excellence of some kind, I guess, right? Uh, so that's kind of the general thing I see. Then I'm interested in a few details I'd like to point out. The first is this box art has this thing right here. I hope I can. Okay. It's hard to know what's going on here, but it looks like the protagonist, like. Oh no, well, it might be these things having been devoured by the bird. In fact, yeah, that seems more likely. Although this person seems to be inside there too, this blue helmet. Uh, I guess I'm just sort of interested in how it's this big bird and potentially has been born from this egg at the top of a like volcano thing. But hmm, the appearance of this protagonist, it's like they have this sort of helmet on and gloves, like they're dressed as a pilot, and a kind of sort of advanced pilot, right? Like, I guess that's the joke in a sense, right? That they're piloting this big bird, but they're dressed as if they're piloting a, a plane or some sort of a machine. So, yeah, I guess that's just me trying to read into it here, but I do see somehow something of mm, you as an as an ego, possibly driving something, a body that you are inside or something, right? Or you as consciousness maybe driving a body, or any of these kinds of images. Uh, and so it's funny because uh, yesterday we had this theme of warriors in this axis, and we had Power Rangers here, who are kind of robotic-looking warriors. They've got this big, solid suit. So it's sort of like this, but here today, what's being emphasized is that this body, this robotic suit, there is a ghost in the machine, right? There is something piloting the body in some way, or there is a relationship between two elements. Hmm. I guess, yeah, that's what I'm intrigued in today, because there is also another repetition with yesterday, which is yesterday we had uh, golf, and fast cars, and we have golf and fast cars again. But here, this is Masters 2, and I'm not entirely sure. It's a grainy image, but it seems as if these are two people, each on their own sort of turf, and there is a confrontation, right? There is a battle between these two golf people. Mm. If that was so, then that's similar to what's happening here, where there are two robots also colliding in a game that's called 2, Gundam 2, also Masters, this Harukanaru Masters 2. So it's funny then, because both themes, or these themes, are sort of colliding in interesting ways. There is, on the one hand, the idea, I think, of a vehicle that requires someone to drive it. So that already implies a duality between mind and matter or something, right? The ghost in the machine and the machine. But then the duality is being presented also as some sort of a confrontation, some sort of a conjunction maybe between them. And then finally, also a theme that has been appearing a lot is just the idea of the goal of this is somehow mastership, championship, right? There is some sort of a goal that this whole process is aiming towards. Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's about it. So, thanks.